Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring in our top left-hand side, lovely our red Zerg, and his opponent in the bottom right is IGT, or that could be an L. You never know. That's an L, but that could be a lowercase L. IGT's Cursive, our blue Terran. I know Cursive is in Platinum at the time of this recording. However, I believe he had just done placement matches because last ranking, you know how the ladders have just reset, but last time he was in Masters. So he's a Masters level player, currently in the Platinum League, working his way back up, and because of that, Battle.net has paired him with Lovely, which is a very high level Zerg player. He's like very high diamond. I think he is also on the cusp of knocking himself back over to Masters. Regardless, it's going to be an excellent game. Both players are of comparable skill, and we're on Belshir Vestige, which is a rather large rush distance map. It's cross spawn only, so you definitely know where the opponent's going to be, and it's pretty easy to get your natural, but then your third, you're kind of split into two different directions, so it opens up a lot of interesting possibilities, specifically making the Zerg take control of the map very, very early on, and then kind of keep a stranglehold on that. It forces you to have some really neat overlord positioning, really control those watchtowers, and then also be wary of any drop potentials coming in from either wing, basically, because no matter where you grab a third, if it's over here, you're going to be really exposed to this southern pathway, and then if it's over here, you've got to deal with basically two different areas where you can position your army. Do you position your army up by your natural to protect that, or do you deal with any aggression that's coming down to your third, because that's where you're going to hit, economically speaking, that's where you're going to lose the most. It's kind of a 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, Sophie's choice, if you will. It's a tough decision, but we're going to see how Lovely deals with that. Looks like he's going for a 15 hatch, 15 pool. I think it was a pool hatch first, because both of them are going to be finishing up pretty much identical timing. And then back at home, the orbital command has already been started. Weird positioning for the barracks, nowhere near the very narrow choke over here. We also see the supply depots making an awkward wall off by the orbital command. Back at home, weird positioning. I don't know. You don't gain too much by doing that, especially when you lose having the wall off and not throwing down early command. He's probably going to be going for an expansion much earlier, even though he is throwing a bunker up there. He's not rushing super early, not trying to get out a bunch of Marines. He's tanking a bunch of money. He's going to be throwing down a command center on the low ground in a very short period of time, I assume. There's the SCV for it, yeah. So even though he is throwing a bunker down right by the hatchery, there's really nothing there to take advantage of it, save the single Marine. So this is really just forcing Lovely to do this, which is waste minerals on the spine crawler, waste minerals on building a couple extra Zerglings. All told, he's going to lose out on like 150, maybe 200 minerals that he wouldn't otherwise expend, and then he's going to get back. Cursive is going to get back a lot of the minerals that he's wasting on this aggression. He's going to get back 75 for the bunker if he salvages it, and then also he's going to be able to cancel the bunker that's being constructed right now. And Lovely's probably wisening up to this. I mean, no other Marines have come in. Oh no, there's another Marine right there. And we see another one on the minimap too. So yeah, this is something that Lovely's going to have to deal with sooner or later. In his mind, he's making the correct decision, and ultimately you do want to over-defend rather than under-defend, because if you under-defend, you automatically lose, you know? So better to be a little bit behind rather than completely behind and lose immediately. So Lovely deals with that bunker harassment, and it looks like Cursive's not having any problem keeping his Marine alive, retreating in the face of that dreaded Overlord, and he succeeded in getting his command center up on the low ground. All things considered, an ultimate win for Cursive. He's got 2 refineries being constructed right now, ultimately 3 barracks, but no add-ons at all, which is awkward. I mean, he's just now getting that gas, so obviously he couldn't really afford to get out those add-ons, but I'd love to see a tech lab being thrown down, love to see him start working on those much-needed upgrades. All things considered, harvester counts pretty much neck and neck, especially considering how much minerals were wasted by Lovely. However, this is where the major lead for Cursive is being held as the gas income. There's no extractors, haven't even been constructed yet at all. Doesn't have any gas, won't have speed for a while now, and I spoke about how incredibly important it is for him to have map control, and you need Zergling speed to have that map control. You want that scouting potential. Really good Overlord placement. I love bringing down the 3rd Overlord just to check out the mineral line there. Suiciding an Overlord at about the 7-minute mark just because he didn't drone scout. A very wise decision. He's going to see absolutely everything he needs to. Tech lab and dual reactors being thrown down by the barracks. I wonder if any of those are going to be destined for that factory. Overlord's going to be seeing absolutely everything, and I understand why he's throwing down the hatchery right now, but traditionally I wait until after the scout is complete so that I don't see any signs of hyper-aggression. He likes what he sees, though, sees the factory, sees the duality of the reactors and the tech labs, especially now that the tech lab is just now beginning to construct something. To see it dead and silent like that, he might have assumed that the tech lab was destined for the factory just because of the positioning. However, I don't believe that's correct since we have that stim pack being started. Regardless, Cursive is going to be waiting for quite a long time before he's actually pushing out and being the aggressor, which is fine. On 2 base, that's absolutely acceptable. With a 3rd base coming up, Lovely's going to be able to skyrocket back in the lead economically speaking. He's managed to tap all 4 of his gases. Still hasn't started on Zergling speed. Oh, there it goes. Okay, just now started on Zergling speed, but he's going to have quite a lot of gas otherwise. So I'd love to see a Baneling nest being thrown down, maybe just go straight into Lair Tech, because he's got so much extra gas. What are you going to do with that gas? You can't spend it on anything right now. And so there's no reason to get 4 geysers unless you're actually going to be doing something with it. Cursive moving out with unupgraded Marines. Obviously, Belshir Vistage is a very large map. These Marines are going to be reaching the creep at about the same time Stim and +1 are finishing. I think this is just a play for that ground control, and this is something that Cursive can do because Lovely did not have that Zergling speed. If these Marines, totally unupgraded Marines, had decided to move out while Zergling speed was on the field, Lovely could just mass produce Zerglings, move out, and crush the entire standing army of Cursive, and then do a Baneling all in, and this game would be absolutely over. But because Cursive did that early play where he wasted a couple of the minerals from Lovely, and Lovely just doesn't have the gas in order to get that metabolic boost out in time to deal with this little slight pressure, it's really, really cool just to see something really minor early in the game have such far-reaching effects later on. I mean, here we are almost 8 minutes after the fact, and Cursive is moving in. He's going to lose every single one of these Marines, but is wedging them in between the minerals is going to be incredibly cost-effective. Switching over to the Units Lost tab, we can see the resources lost really just heavily in the favor of Cursive. Oh man, he's going to clean up every single one of those Zerglings with just a handful of Marines to share, to afford to lose. I don't know, to spare. Yeah. Stim pack has finished. +1 is going to be finishing just a second after that, but I don't even think he got the stim off in that. Didn't really need to. He just crushed the entire Zergling force as Zergling speed was finishing. Really nice positioning for Cursive. Really good for him. Didn't really succeed in taking out the hatchery, but it did succeed in stunting the amount of Zerglings out on the field. Centrifugal hooks underway as long as the +1/+1 for those Zerglings, so a Baneling bust is not out of the question. Definitely something Cursive needs to be aware of, but he's got that tech lab up on the factory. Is he going to be producing some siege tanks to assist him? I don't think he's gotten any out yet. Drop going on into the main base is going to be succeeding in doing not a lot, but this time +1 is done, as well as the Stim, which has been going down, supported by 2 medevacs. These guys are absolutely ravaging the drobe line, succeeding in taking 17 workers down. I think a handful of them went down in that first aggression. Another drop going off into the right side. This is brutal, but this time speed is done, so it looks like both drops are going to get cleaned up eventually. This one's going to take a second round of Zerglings, I think, but a hot pickup from Cursive, maybe moseying down into the natural, but a good positioning for that spine. I think that spine was actually left over from the initial one, and oh man, one of the medevacs goes down, the other one retreating with a full complement, but got to be careful. A lot of queens are out right now. How many? Just 2, actually. Wow. I'd expect to see more than that. However, the Baneling speed as well as the +1 is going to be finishing, so I think we're going to see the aggression begin to shift into Lovely's stance right now. But man, this tells you 38 over 57. That is absolutely brutal. Really in the favor of Cursive right now, especially as he's moving out with that command center down to the bottom left hand side. Good positioning once again by Lovely, really being aware of what's going on in the map. Look at this Overlord placement on the minimap. Just really, really great. Obviously, he didn't scout the drop before it actually happened last time, but with that Overlord placement, paying a little bit more attention to the minimap, this is definitely something that could play in later on whenever drops become more and more of a threat. Overlord pooping some creep down there is really going to be a pain in Cursive's side, as well as just going to prove to him that Cursive is going for that third, meaning that he's going to be a little bit more exposed to a run-by from these guys right here, specifically these guys. Banelings can be quite a bother whenever they make their way into the natural. +2 on the way. Do we have lair? We do totally have lair. Of course we have lair. We get +2. What are you stupid? We got centrifugal hooks too. Oh, good, +2, but what else? Really need something to deal with these drops. Obviously, Zerglings are really, really fast. I think Lovely is just, quite frankly, teching as fast as he possibly can up to Ultralisks. Very, very popular right now. Ultralisks are really, really good. However, it makes you incredibly exposed early on, and it also kind of ties you down to just 3 bases. It's really difficult to get a 4th and deal with these drop plays just with Zerglings, because to get that 4th up, yeah, it speeds you up later on. It makes it so that you can power through with those Overlords later on, but to get that 4th, it overall delays your tech, and ultimately you just kind of rush to it, and it leaves you kind of vulnerable in the mid game. But if you can rush to that late game, you ultimately come out on ahead. But I don't think Cursive is going to give Lovely the time for that. We do have Hive being started, so yeah, that just confirms that. And we saw pathogen glands being researched early on, so with these infestors coming out, they're going to be able to throw down a fungal growth very, very quickly. 4th is being constructed on the right side, but that's going to get canceled, hopefully, to give Lovely back some resources. It looks like the 3 siege tanks is more than enough to protect him against the ultimate swell of just Zerglings coming out right now. I mean, look at all those Banelings, more Zerglings being added into that mark. The creep spread is a little bit, I don't know, mild-mannered, I guess is the term I'd use for it. Not as impressive as I want it to, but here comes the infestors from the south side. Really, really great. Cursive's nervous because he hasn't seen anything. The Baneling Spade coming in, all but blowing all those Banelings on the siege tank. Ultimately a really great blow, but look at all those Marines loaded up into those medevacs, dropping them down one by one. Oh man, nice surround. Really great fungal from Lovely, but he just doesn't have the Zerglings necessary to deal with them now that they've been tied in place. 52 Zerglings on the production tab right now, +2 is going to be finishing. I don't think Cursive's going to be very successful in this. In fact, if we switch over to the resources lost tab, that's beginning to equalize a little bit. Ultimately, I think it's in Cursive's favor, especially because he's going to get that hatchery. Really ballsy play there, especially with 52 of them. Oh, misclick! Oh, the misclick! Oh, no. Lovely misclicking on those destructible debris, ultimately costing him a great deal. Remember, this hatchery went down and forcing Lovely to construct a 3rd once again, really just destroying his economy. But the harvester count has begun to equalize, and that hive is up. That hive has been constructed right now, which means the Ultralisk Cavern is going to go down in just a couple of seconds if it hasn't already. Has it already? Oh, it's a long list. Is that it? Nope, it's not. So yeah, so no Ultralisk Cavern just yet. Like I said, grabbing that 4th delays your tech. He really wanted to get this down as soon as possible, and yeah, he's going for that land grab, and ultimately that's just going to delay it, and he's stuck on this mid-game composition, which is, it's kind of lackluster. It's not the best one in the world to deal with the drops and the heavy Marine siege tank play that's coming out. I think if Cursive makes the tactical decision to push onto this creep, ultimately that could be his death stroke, because we have a lot of Banelings here, and those Banelings can close alarmingly fast on this bio ball. Here comes the push from Cursive. Has he stemmed these guys? Yeah, they're moving pretty fast. So a small stem pushing onto the creep. Doesn't want to overextend, but I think he already has. Here comes the Zergling sweeping in from the south side. Going to be pushing down this wall. Oh my goodness, where is the splitting? No splitting at all. Oh no, so many Marines dead. So incredibly fast, just showing you how incredibly cost effective those Banelings can be. Immediately producing 54 more Zerglings. Cursive has no choice but to retreat. However, he succeeded in taking out a large swath of that creep. Definitely knocking it back. The 3rd has been reconstructed for Lovely, and he's got that 4th up. Also a nuke on the production tab. Oh wow, 2 nukes, 2 Ghost Academies already out. It's going to be nice to have their EMPs to knock down the infestors. Besides that, maybe we'll see some drops. With a nuke, throwing down a nuke into a mineral line can be very effective, especially to clean up this hive. It's rare that you see one actually work on an army. However, it's really, really nice to throw one down on a choke, which Belshir Vistage actually has a lot of chokes that can be completely locked down with a single well-placed nuke. So yeah, this could be a very nice play, but Ultralisk Cavern finally being constructed. Oh my goodness. But it's because so many minerals have been wasted on other things. The disposable Zerglings, reproducing the hatchery, reproducing all of the destroyed harvesters, set up to 70 right now. A small engagement going down. It looks like some siege tanks have been forgotten by Cursive. I saw them sieged right here, but he's just now moving them, and it looks like the Zelnaga watchtower up on the high ground had spotted them. ultimately not the major loss right now. Cursive is up on 3 bases, grabbing his 4th right now. It looks like he's cleaned up the Overlord that was positioned there. The second nuke on the production tab? Yeah, I think so. Second nuke on the production tab. Does he have any ghosts out right now? He's got 3 ghosts out right now. I do not know where they are, but we will keep an eye out for them. And obviously the minimap will pin whenever you actually see the nuke going down, which is one of the awesome new features from Heart of the Swarm. Ultralisk Cavern going to town on that chitinous plating, meaning that when they do get out on the field, they're going to be incredibly powerful, and ultimately incredibly powerful against this composition right here. These Marines definitely not prepared to deal with Ultralisks. The drops are going to be doing a great job of keeping the Ultralisk numbers stunted, but we see a nice bank. We see 2 Ultralisks on the production tab, a lot of supply. Lovely is setting himself up to be in a really good position in a couple of minutes, but again, he's kind of delicate right now. He's kind of exposed. These medevacs are going to be doing quite a lot of damage if they poke up here, even though this is pretty much a gas-only base for Lovely. He needs that gas. He needs the gas to keep pace with the production that he's set himself up for right now. I love the addition of these just a handful of Vipers right now, just to throw down that blinding cloud. He doesn't need a huge number of them. Usually you see about 6 of them being thrown into any programmer's army, because they need this huge number of Vipers to throw down this huge number of blinding clouds on them, making it so that the siege tanks can't do the damage necessary. But because it's a heavy Marine and siege tank composition, he's only going to be dealing with 3 or 4 siege tanks at a time, which means that the sheer number of blinding clouds that he needs to throw down is significantly less than what you need against a traditional heavy mech army. Lovely up at 185, Cursive down to 150. Oh, there goes the first nuke being thrown down. Oh, Lovely's got to move. Lovely's really got to move. Look at all these Banelings. Look at this Ultralisk. This could be absolutely devastating. 4 more, another oh no, oh no, Lovely. Ultimately, that's not the worst thing in the world. He's still got his Ultralisk. Yes, he's missing the... oh, man, that is terrible. What am I kidding? He's so bad. That is so bad. He's got a lot of bank, though. He can mass-produce a bunch of Zerglings, mass-produce a bunch of Banelings, hope for a nice engagement on the creep. No, he just taps out. That is devastating. Poor Lovely. He's been waiting all game long to get up to these Ultralisks. That's all he ever wanted. And Cursive wrote a nice little cursive, "No, you ain't." He wrote it in the scorched nuclear waste of those Banelings and the Zerglings. What was he nuking over here? Just production structures? Or was it oh yeah, up to 41 workers killed, so I imagine he nuked an entire mineral line or something like that. But oh, this was game ending right here. This was brutal. That was absolutely revolting. You know what's not revolting is my affection for you guys, because you watch my videos. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary. Bye.